I see a lot of children, of people that I know, and also several adults in my practice too, who are on medications. And if you ask them if something else was tried, if any psychiatric help was given, or I see there are even some cognitive behavioral therapies. There's even a feedback loop treatment that's out there, but people haven't even heard of it. And I see almost everyone who carries a diagnosis of ADHD on Adderall or certain other stimulants. So is that what you see in your practice too? And is that the way to go? Or there are several steps before pharmacological therapy is offered to patients that can be tried and are effective?
I think I'm glad you asked that question. So recently, especially in the past year or so, we get so many calls from adults, usually, not the children, but I will go back to that part as well. So we get so many calls from adults that, we have this online website. We did some testing and they diagnosed us with ADHD. And, they were prescribing us this Adderall, but now because of the changes and there were a lot of things that people were not qualified who were just prescribing. But now that online service is gone, can you prescribe? And I am surprised, especially for the 1 year, how many times, that is calls are happening. And when I ask them, can I get some report from the previous clinician? First, there was no clinician actually. This more surprising. Can I get those reports? And when you read those reports, those are pretty basic, based on, as I said, a couple of symptoms, and this is the diagnosis, and you need this medicine. So that trend is unfortunately there, that over prescribing it. I don't know, but there could be many reasons to it, because it has a lot of addictive potential. It has a lot of street value to it. But let's talk about children. Once someone is diagnosed with ADHD, clinically, neuropsychological testing, the best and the most, I would say, the outcome treatment is the medication.
Okay.
So in anxiety and depression, I would suggest my parents to go for therapy first. And if that's, unless it's a very severe kind of anxiety depression where it is affecting significantly, but in a mild anxiety depression, I even suggest to go to therapy first. And if 6 months or a year, if not getting better, then come to me. But when someone has ADHD, then definitely my recommendation, based on evidence base, and start the medication. But that doesn't mean there are not other treatment modalities there. Let's say, so I have this conversation with the parent. Parents say, I don't want to start the medicine, but that doesn't mean that, there are other options. So what I would suggest is, what do you think you would like to do? So there are what we call executive coaches are there, ADHD coaches, executive coaching are there. There are some therapists who are specialized in, in ADHD, and they help with, help with the self-esteem, help with, setting smaller goals. And so those are and similarly, omega-3 fatty acids, there are some data that helps more with impulsivity and anger, not much with the inattentive piece of it. So I tell them my recommendation will be start the medication, because in psychiatry, ADHD is the diagnosis where we are hoping and expecting and seeing 80 to 90% improvement in symptoms with medication. It's just that effective. And many times parents start all these things, but the best we see is pretty minimal. And I feel sad for those children that they may not achieve the potential because they are not getting the most effective treatment. But there are so many out there.
So it's I think I'd like to highlight it a little bit more, the fact that you mentioned that there is 80 to 90% improvement in people who are diagnosed with ADHD. So that's something that I think we need to highlight and let people know, that the treatments that are out there for ADHD are effective and will help you gain your maximum potential if you are actually treated. So it's not like, a lot of objection I see to medications is, oh, they're not going to help, and the children will just get addicted to this, and, and so forth in that way. So that's a very important point. that should be highlighted in this conversation, that the treatments that are out there are actually effective. The other question I had, Dr. Zishan, is that so is there, because this is also a very common concern that parents actually raise, is that will my child ever be able to get off of the medication? Is there an end to it, or is this a lifelong treatment? Like if you're diagnosed with hypertension once, more likely than not, you're just going to stick with the medication. So is that the case for ADHD too?
So let me just answer, your comment first, and then I will answer this one as well. So so these medications are effective 80 to 90%, but we are not seeing that improvement in the real world, when we see comments on Dr. Google and many things, and I believe on them. And the more I practice, the more I found the reason to believe on them, because due to shortage of child psychiatrists, most of the time these medications are being prescribed. Again, pediatrician, excellent people, but they do not have that intense training to it. So now I have seen children, that very young age, starting at a higher dose to it, or the titration is not as, because we go in a very intense training with that, because ADHD is bread and butter as a child psychiatrist. So we go intense training with the medication management. But the reason these medications are effective, but not effective, that what I'm saying is because most of the times, even as a child psychiatrist, I have seen people, they struggle to titrate the dose, or they may go to the, let's say, start with a higher dose, move so fast, or switch to something really sooner. So these are a couple of things that, we may not see. One thing is commonly happen, and I think that happen, emotional blunting, the change the child who they are. And I have seen children, and the reason was it started very high dose, or, they didn't change, when it was needed. So just to highlight, it's good to start with the pediatrician because they are very accessible. But if you see things are not going well, I think it's important to get the consultation. So to answer your question, that ADHD, sorry, if you can repeat the last comment, I can. So if,
Yeah, I was just asking that, is it like undertreated? And, if it's not, even when people recognize it, just because of, the questions associated with whether it's actually going to be helpful or not. Yeah, is it undertreated?
Yes, and either they need when they grow up or not. Yeah, yeah. I think in general, 1/3, especially the hyperactivity and impulsivity symptom, gets better over time. They automatically get better. And 1/3 they may grow out of it, depending on what kind of job they get. Remember, it's not a problem paying attention; it's a regulation of attention.
Yeah.
Over time, let's say they have ADHD, they are taking the medicine, they are achieving their potential. But as you know, when we go in college or when we go in the professional field, we may have the option to choose what is more interested to me. A lot of time the kids with ADHD, they are more hands-on, or they may find something with the IT. So they may find some jobs that are more in line with them, and they may not need the medicine even during their school days. If they don't have a lot of homework during the weekend, they may not need the medicine. I hope that makes sense. So it's when they struggle, and a lot of time people say, oh, but we can wait till they grew out of it. But why you have to wait to go at the end of the tunnel to see the light? Why not you can bring the light when these medication, this treatment can bring light inside to it.
So basically, they can, if they find their niche in life, or if they find the things that they're comfortable with, there is a chance that they would be able to come off of medications, or may not require medications as intensely as they did when the initial diagnosis was made. So, yes. Okay, understood. The other question I have is, and also that we see very commonly, is what's the social impact of ADHD, of untreated ADHD, obviously, where our understanding is that once the treatment is started, the behavior improves, and if it's treated appropriately, there is a tremendous improvement. But untreated ADHD, what's the social impact? How does the society suffer? How do those individuals suffer in general in their life?
I think let's start at a young age. Just imagine, kids is very interruptive, talking out of turn, blurting out things in the class. It may come as a showing off, and having difficulty regulating their emotion, getting upset very easily. So one thing that even young age I have seen, they may not have a lot of friends. They want to make friends, but even the parents, they may say that, may not have play dates with them, or may not have, or may help their children, it's okay to not hang out with that children. So I have seen a lot of social isolation, even bullying, even labeling those children, even from the teacher, they are, oppositional, defiant, not wanting to do things. So, and that it also affect their self-esteem as well.